Hello and welcome back to BookGames Spectator. I am your host, Michael T, and today we're diving into understanding how I book games spectate in order to impart my knowledge and wisdom of understanding and navigating this marketplace. In the previous episode, we took the current market price of Ethereum and we went on our preferred exchange and we found the conversion rate for $1,000. So our entry price was $4,241.08. We sold in our paper trading account $1,000, and we ended up with 0.232959 Ethereum. We ended up with more, but we're just using those first 6 digits to keep in accordance with the token trove, since this is just a paper trading account. So next we're saying, how do I actually look to find value in this marketplace? Well, first we're gonna have to understand these the combinatorics of rarity. So that's the hardest part, really, and there's no easy way to jump you in, but I have to start with my own personal caveats, and that's that I always start with Galaxy as the pivot point. For me, I love the look of galaxies. Galaxies are one of my favorite looking frames available, and it sits at an interesting Fibonacci retracement level in terms of fur is at the middle technically. Well, if you're actually doing the calculations, we might argue that if you actually want to do the math, which in future episodes we very may well do, in terms of adding up, okay, what's the percentage of wood, silver, clear, gold, black, marble, granite, X altogether, and then excluding fur altogether, and then including caviar altogether, and then including galaxy. So it's all about understanding what are all of these percentages, both individually and then all together. So this is important. Again, zooming out, because there's like, how do you seek to navigate it? For me, I have so many strats already that as a content creator, I don't want to tell my order book, or I don't want to speak my book, but I also want to telegraph some of the useful tips and tricks that I've picked up along the way as I've been BookGames spectating. So let's work through this together to figure out, based on my paper trading account, what would I buy? Okay, currently, based on my paper trading account, I would buy, well, yeah, I can't tell you what I would buy. I don't know. Well, I mean, this video isn't getting that many views, but I still don't know how to adequately merge talking my book with giving actionable details. So let's just start off with the basics, and then we can work into what I'm doing personally. So in order to start this off, you have to catch your bearings somehow. And so I like to start by catching my bearings with the frame rarity. I start with Galaxy. So let's start with Galaxy. Galaxy and then Fur. Yeah, Galaxy, Fur, and Caviar. Okay, so why did we do Galaxy, Fur, Caviar? Because we're trying to get a sense of what the marketplace is looking like. Well, actually, no, that's not what we do first. The first thing that we do is, right, because for BookGames Spectating, it's about how do you jump in when being an early market participant. So we would clear this, we would go back to listing time, and we would go back to recently sold. And this is where we would begin. You're jumping into BookGames Spectating and you're trying to figure out what's going on in this marketplace. I would start by figuring out what the hell has been sold within the past few minutes, hours, days, weeks. And I would scroll back a decent amount of time, let's say 4 weeks, and then I would start scrolling. Okay, what am I looking at? What do I see? Okay, we have a Paper Hands Pony. We have a Love of Optimism. Right now I'm looking at those because those are hollows, right? So this is why you burn this chart into your mind. We're going to spend a lot of time on this chart. This is one of the single most important pieces of information that you could ever hold close to your vest when it comes to BookGames Spectating. If you want to see this visualization, you can see it here. Maybe it's more useful for you. Okay, so the reason why we use this chart is because it gives us the visualization of the rarities so that we can cross-reference what makes a good deal, what makes a great deal, and what makes any deal at all. The reason why we start here is because we have no idea what the value is until the market tells us what the value is. And the market tells us what the value is not because someone decided they would like to sell their product at a specific price, but because someone actually took the effort to buy at the given price. And that's what separates the enthusiasts. Enthusiasts look at the floor and they look at the listing time because they're trying to catch snipes. Experts and tacticians look at the sale time in order to correlate what the market wins are looking like. So this is interesting. Let's start here. Patience Pig. And this is a pro tip. There are specials. There are 1,000. Where is it? There are. Yeah. Oh no, it was here. Yeah, there are 125,000 total tokens. And this is a pro tip for the collectors out there. The token, and maybe not currently, but as we get deeper into collections over time, the actual number of the token is going to have more and more of an importance. Does that make sense? Especially if you're in the low numbers or the high numbers. The middles are, unless it's some type of numerical, like, you know how like what is it called, like an angel number, like all of the same number versus 50 50 50 versus 22 17. I don't know what people have things where they like specific numbers versus a specific number representing something and being an important use case. But that's actually a pro tip for the long-term collectors to get like we call it 2-digit, 3-digit, 4-digit. 5 digits are less valuable because it goes up to 99,000, but the 4 digits and the 3 digits and the 2 digits can be very valuable. Similarly, if we're doing 4 digits, that's 9,000. You can get into this in the upper ranges of the last of the tokens. And if you do your calculations correctly, they might have the same relevance as some of the cheapest tokens. Okay, so we're going to scroll and we're looking for value. We're looking for value and market capitulation. So these are moving for 100s. 0.26 ETH. Okay, and then if we see something that stands out, we might say, okay, but wait, what is this? And then you might say, what's the history of this token? And then, so in May of 22, it was sold for 0.161250 ETH. Which this is the live ETH. This was not the concurrent ETH. Like there's the ETH price that this was in the past. This is not the ETH price of the past. This is the Ethereum price of the present. That's important to note. So then we would say, okay, so this is a humility hologram silver. So we're looking and we're saying humility, okay, hologram, and then silver. Okay, so what about this? Okay, so it's humility, so that the total market is 12,101. Humility hollow. Okay, so this is the best spectacular that there is. Why? Because no, it's not. It's competing with gold. So gold and hollow are technically the same. This is important because you might not realize, or the market might trade at a premium based on its perceived value in terms of where it ranks in terms of lava, gold, bubblegum, diamond, and hollow. It might trade at a premium because it's a hollow, versus the same level of rarity is in its gold as well, because there's only 1,043. Similarly with the hologram. So this was interesting. And then with silver, so let's take a look at that. Humility, gold and hollow, silver. And when we get back, we're going to dip into this entry for humility, humility, silver, gold, humility, silver, hollow. Until next time.